Welcome back to the bench. I know, it's a slightly different bench, but that's because I'm in a slightly different room. This is the other lab, the other shop, the other place where men gather to exchange good ideas, scratch their nether regions, and release copious amounts of noxious fumes. It's where I don't have to be all that censored, and I thought that this would be a good place to do this video. Now, if you've been following the channel, which by the way, we're up to well over 300 and some subscribers, and I would just like to take a moment to say I'm sorry that your lives are so empty that you have to follow this paint dry channel. I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Likes are never, I don't do this for likes or for subscribers or anything. I just do it because I'm hoping that it helps one person not get to a point of frustration that they wrap their digits around the nearest throat and squeeze it out of extinction. We need to be nicer to each other. And sometimes that's hard, but it's easier if you're learning things. At least that's my take on it. So this is just, it's a little bit of a catch-up video, and I'm getting excited because some things are coming. And this wrench is the beginning of a story. And I just want to tell you a story. You can watch it. You don't have to watch it. But at the end of the story, and through the story, you're going to kind of see where we're going. I think it's pretty cool. I started playing around with electronics when I was a kid. You know, typical stuff. I had an aunt that worked at a car lot. She brought home like this huge bag of headphones that had like a little AM FM radio. It ran off a couple of just, you know, small AA batteries, and they were broken. They were giving them away as a promotional thing, and then, there was like 20 or 30 headsets in there, and man, I tore those things apart, and I was just ecstatic at the possibility that, hey, I'm going to fix all these things, and I fixed absolutely none of them, save one. I saved one, and then I didn't have a soldering iron. Oh, we probably did, but I'm sure it wasn't a good one. Screwdrivers, you know, and I don't recall exactly what was wrong with it, but whatever it was, I fixed it, and I was really happy about that. And I tore a lot of other things apart, like a lot of other kids did back then. We didn't have 3,000 television channels, or, you know, the interwebs, or Facebook, or strip clubs. We didn't have any of that stuff. We just had our own devices, which hopefully didn't include, I don't know, peanut butter and a neighbor's dog, whatever. The point is that we had to find ways to fill time. And I like to learn things. But I got off track somewhere, as I often do. Like now, what was it? Farmhouse. Yeah, kid. Right. So here's the thing. When I grew up, I didn't become what I wanted to become. I was something else. And I was mean. I was a real jerk. I didn't like things like people with their constant need to, I don't know, whine and talk. Kids in general. I guess I'm just not very social, is the whole thing. And I just got worse about it. And then one day I realized it's because I don't do what I want to do. I didn't want to work in the field that I worked in. It just sucked. And for 18 years, I did that. And then one day I just kind of went, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just tired. I want to do what I want to do. And what I wanted to do was tinker. But it's really kind of hard to get paid to tinker, right? So I did develop a skill set. I used things like YouTube, Google, the Google machine, that's great, to kind of deepen my knowledge base and learn more things. And I wore a lot of hats, and one of the hats that I wore was a aviation maintenance apprentice. Now, I want to be careful here. I wasn't an actual A&P or an IA, but I worked for one that has, to this day, been in the business for well over 50 years, has the Chuck Taylor Award, and just so happens he was also my sperm donor, so that's nice. And I learned a lot working with him. I learned a lot about how mechanics work, how certain types of electrical principles work, how to throw a wrench the right way. These are all important things that you need to learn as a young man. But again, I didn't want to do that really either. I didn't want to be an aircraft mechanic when I grew up. So at the ripe old age of, 8 years ago or less, I just started to change, and I started to just say, I don't care what anybody else wants me to do, and I don't care what the society around me thinks that I should do. I'm going to just tinker. I'm going to find ways to tinker. And that's what I did. I specifically left the job that monopolized all my time, and I had been in that position for 11 years. And then I went to a job that was kind of a no-brain, no-function job, but it allowed you to get the job done in 4 days, which meant 3 days off. 3 consecutive days. That 3 consecutive days for a couple of years let me learn a lot of things and practice with a lot of things where I knew some theory but hadn't really done any practical types of experiments, that kind of thing. That's how this all started. The YouTube thing was, I was learning, and I knew that there were guys like me, maybe, that wanted to cut some of the learning curve. In other words, I didn't want them to have to set their lab on fire or, electrocute themselves 20 or 30 times a day. I wanted them to get a little bit better understanding, especially if they're an adult, where, when you're a kid and you're trying to learn this stuff, it's one thing. When you're an adult, man, you just don't have a lot of time. And I don't want to be the guy that does the what they call the please bro solution. I'm not that guy either. I'm kind of in the middle. Here's what I know. This is why I know it. And here's how you can do it too. Or this is the way I did it, and I really screwed it up. Don't do it this way. It's either way, I would assume you're gonna learn something. So the point is, I had worked at one company 20 plus years ago, and I didn't work in the same department, but that company is a pretty well-known company. And a year ago, last September, about the time my videos started going away, I got a job there again in a department that was much more suited to what I like, which is tinkering. It's actually repair. It's actually working on the equipment that's in a lot of restaurants, basically, that dispenses sugar water. Now, I have to be a little careful here. I know some other people that work for this company. Let's just say it's not a small one. And we've already discussed that some of them have YouTube channels too. And we've already discussed that we should never mention the name of our company that we work for, because we don't want to inadvertently put that company in a position to where they would be responsible for something that we did, or it might look like that's something that they approve of. And let's face it, sometimes I lick wiring just to see what the color tastes like. So I don't want to blame that on my employer, because it's not their fault. So there's definitely going to be a separation, and I'm not going to mention them by name. You're never going to hear that. I can promise you that. So I have to be a little bit careful tiptoeing around that kind of thing. Just a second. All I can say is that it is in the beverage industry, and it's a large beverage company that's quite well known around the world. But unfortunately, that's really all I can say about it. Sorry, throat was just a little bit dry there. It's okay, we took care of it. So, not going to mention them by name. Not going to do it. Point being is, we got a lot of things that we need to cover. It's getting hot in here too. Sorry, just going to take this off. The point is, there's a lot of things that we can learn from our occupation. Now, I'm not going to go around and tell you all the little inside secrets of how certain companies, do certain things. Quite frankly, at the end of the day, while some products might be better than others, it is kind of all carbonated sugar water. So there's that. They all kind of use the same equipment. They all kind of do the same thing. And it is really cool equipment. One thing that it has done is it's shown me a new method of service. And it's also given me a very similar schedule to where I have a few days off in a row. Now, when I'm at work, I'm at work. And they're long hours. But when I'm done, let me tell you something. There is nothing like coming home from 14 to 16 hours of getting stepped on by little Sarah when you're in the drive-through window trying to make their magic drink machine work again. Boy, you just really want to sit down and shoot some videos, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's not the reason why that hasn't happened. So also I've been on kind of a learning curve. There's a lot going on. And then, of course, with this big thing that's happened this 2020 last year. But that's behind us now, remember? The COVID, that thing. It's been hectic, to say the least. So the point is, we're on to bigger and better things. And I kind of want to take this time to share some of the stuff that I'm learning. And that endeavor, that position at that company, led me to go find a tool. Now, I don't care whether you're into electronics or carpentry or bricklaying or, whatever. Tools. Oh, man. Who doesn't love tools? Am I right? They're awesome. The things that we can do with tools are wonderful. All we need is a little bit of imagination. So, in one of the situations that I'm currently around, we have a machine that does this thing that automatically dispenses beverages. And you will see this in drive-through windows of certain clown-related restaurants. Okay? And in that machine is an ice gate. And this ice gate is operated by an ice gate cylinder. And this ice gate cylinder has a nut that is a royal pain in the... It's difficult to get at. So I'm doing something that I used to do as an aircraft mechanic apprentice, which is taking a wrench like so, heating it up, beating it with a hammer, bending it, twisting it, grinding edges off of it until I have a wrench that will actually fit in the spot that I need it to. Make sense? So I went to a pawn shop. This is where the story starts, by the way. All the rest was just a precursor. I know. I get windy. I went to go get a wrench because pawn shops are awesome for tools. I don't want a whole set of open-in, box-in, metric, SAE, imperial foot, whatever. I don't need all that. I needed one 11/16 wrench, which you notice I got 3 of them. And it's cheap. I mean, I'm not even going to tell you. I practically stole these. Not literally. I didn't steal them, okay? I just practically stole them because of the... Never mind. Let's not get into that. Some of the other things that I've noticed over the years is that tools and quality of tools tend to come and go. For instance, this wrench. Now, most people recognize this as, depending on where you're from, a plumber's wrench or a crescent... Well, that's not a crescent wrench. A monkey wrench, a pipe wrench. Some people call it a fits-all. That's not really what I think of as a fits-all, but, whatever. The point is, it's for pipes, mainly. Now, here's the thing. This tool is old, but the quality behind this tool. I can go up to the local hazardous Harbor Freight, and I can pick up a monkey wrench, essentially, for pretty cheap in comparison. And we do run into places where this job you kind of have to have a little bit of, you do a little plumbing, you do a little electrical work, you do a little gas pressure work, you do some, computer stuff. There's all kinds of stuff going on with it. But I have monkey wrenches. But I saw this while I was looking for those. And I remembered a YouTube video from not that long ago where somebody had done a really good job resurfacing a wrench like this. And I picked it up and immediately felt the difference. This thing has got some heft to it. The action on this, listen, it's just, I don't know if that's camera's picking it up. This thing is just smooth as a baby's butt. You don't get that on a Harbor Freight tool. It's got these little springs to kind of hold the assembly head so it's not shaking all over the place. It's just a better wrench, and it's older. And I was like, man, that's got to be like a, I don't know, $30, $40 used wrench. It was $6. They put $6 on this. I said, are you kidding me? I got to buy this. Now, this is something where I was like, this isn't, I wouldn't have made a video about this. I do this kind of stuff where I'll, fix up a tool. But the quality of this tool, I was like, I'm going to do that. But I might maybe do a video, maybe not, probably not. Probably won't do a video. Now, this brings me to what I really found in there that got me excited. So, the electronics part of this expanded into sound. I'd played around with audio amps, rebuilt them, different kinds, fixed them for a long time. I didn't really get serious about it, let's say about 6 years ago. About 6 years ago, I got real serious about it. And I started buying stuff that was geared towards the audio spectrum. In other words, just audio, amplifier kind of things. Not radio. That's a whole different signal. There's some black magic voodoo. If you're not privy to that, it's kind of weird. And it requires additional gear. You have to have oscilloscopes that will kind of see the signal ranges. You have to have signal generators that will see or that will produce the ranges that you need. Things like waveform generators. If you want to do a sweep, it has to have that function, that equipment. So the equipment, even though it's old, it gets more expensive. So a lot of you that watch this already know that. Some of you that are just getting into this or future viewers might not realize, at least at this point in time, 2021, January, very cold, hence the trembling in my voice. It's expensive to get into this as a hobby because more and more people have picked it up, especially with COVIDs now. People that were kind of already into the hobby got further into it because they now have time to do it because they can't go outside. So we went around that whole gamut as I was in here pondering all the possibilities of this beautiful new monkey wrench. Something caught my eye. Something that I would have expected to see on, let's say, Carlson's Lab or X-Ray Tony or Uncle Doug. Somebody radio's old and new. But I don't normally see this stuff around here. And what it was a radio. And not just any radio, a tube radio. And not just a tube radio, a coin-operated tube radio. I know. Hold your excitement. I'm serious. Look, I'm going to change the camera. Of course, my battery's going to die soon, so I'm going to have to wrap it up. But let me pause and set up the camera because it's right off screen. And I want you guys to look at it, and I want you to tell me, what the hell is it? I don't, it's an RCA, I know that, but let me set it up. Just hold on. Okay, so in true circuit monkey form, here you go. Even though I have a new tripod, there's a poor lighting and all that good stuff. And a little bit of light right over the top of that cabinet. Let's see if I can get that off screen a little bit. That's not going to work. Let me just... Yeah, that's about as good as we're going to get that. And I can't really show you too much with that cabinet, but I will. Here's what I can tell you. It looks to me like it's been painted. There's some vinyl calves grain. I used to make plastic a long time ago, and that looks a lot like vinyl calves grain made on a chill roll on an extrusion process. So that's kind of what I can tell you about that. When I first saw it, I thought, well, somebody's taken an old radio and they just kind of crammed it into this cabinet. But nay. I looked it up, and there are a couple of examples, but apparently very rare. Now, expense or what it's worth, I don't care about. The fact is, it's a radio, and because I have watched people like Carlson and Tony and some others, I knew right away by looking at the back of it, inside of it, it's a curtain burner. Yeah, it's the kind that'll set your house on fire. I couldn't buy it fast enough, I'm telling you. Man, my insurance policies are going to go right out the roof. Right, so once again, I'm trying to fight and get you a little bit better view of this thing. Yeah, flashlight in my pocket. That might work. If only I had some kind of a light source. Yeah, the one that's blinding the camera. Hang on a second, I got an idea. Come here. No, you can't have it. Let go. It's mine. That's a poor attitude to have. Okay. That probably wasn't much better. All right. Now, let's see if I can pick the camera up a little bit. I'll try not to do too much shaky cam. I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 capacitors in there. Not capacitors, listen to me. I don't even know what they're called. The big glass thingies. Yeah, vacuum tubes. I got 6 of them, okay? And I see an IF and an RF slug right there. See, I know stuff. I know words and whatnot. And then over in the side, see this? It's a, that's an antenna. Now here's the weird thing. You ready? Remember what I said? Coin operated? Look at this. Look at this. What the hell is that? I don't know what that is. It's a, well, I know what it is. I kind of have a job working on vending machines and whatnot now, among other things. That's a coin mech. It's a lockbox for a coin mech. Meter-matic, it says. 120 volts. There's 2 cords going in this thing. They're kind of down there in the bottom of the cabinet. I'll tip this whole tripod up a little bit. So you're kind of laying around down in there. Yeah, so there's 2 different cords, and this looks like, I'm going to say, some type of possibly, oh, notice that too. See the, yeah, see the speaker? What's that look like up there, radio nerds? What does that look like? Yeah, it's a coil, isn't it? I think it's an electrodynamic coil, but I'm probably wrong. I got a capacitor tuning slug back there, or tuning capacitor back there. This looks like it's the original deal. So I'm really excited. Now I know a lot of you guys can walk down to the nearest junk store and pick one of these up, you know, no problem. Well, not me. I never see these things around my neck of the woods. So I immediately went in and pretended I knew more than what I did, and absolutely convinced the guy that owns the place, I've known him for a while. This is a huge fire hazard. I would be doing him a favor for buying it for less than half price just to get it away from the general public to keep their houses from catching on fire. Well, he bought it, so I did too. I bought it, and it was pretty cheap. Now, here's the thing. Let me see if I can get this thing to tip down. I know my battery's going to go soon. Careful, careful, careful. Oh, don't you fall out. I don't know. Probably going to be upside down. Probably. See if I can get some more light on this. Aha! And it's upside down. So I'll try and get you a still picture of this coin mech up here. But essentially what it says is 25 cents for 1 hour play. Insert quarters, blah, blah, blah. And this is RCA Coin Radio of America. So it's an RCA. Now, what I'm thinking here, from the little bit of internet searchery that I did, is 1930s, 1940s. That looks like one of those transformerless All-American 5, 6 type jobs. I don't know which one's which. Honestly don't. I've heard All-American 5 much more. I sent off a couple of emails to some people. I'm waiting for a response from them. And I'm going to do some more internet nerdery. Let me get this turned around for you again. Take a good look. Come here, princess. Hopefully that's close to centered. Let's see if we can get some more light on the subject. It's not very good lighting, and that's another thing I am working on. So, it's, again, that cabinet kind of threw me, and I was thinking, you know, look, that doesn't look like a normal cabinet, you know? And I could just kind of, the color just kind of threw me off. It's kind of a, I don't know if it's coming through on the camera, especially in this lighting. It's kind of a bluey, gray kind of color. And I didn't, the 2 examples that I did see on the interwebs, you know, not all that great. So, this is a prefacing video. I'm just kind of showing you this because I want you to tell me What do you think this is? Now, I know you can't see that dial face. I can see it. It's really, like if you go like this, it was just washing the whole camera shot out. It's really scratched up. It's broken in one corner. Obviously, we're missing one of the bakelite knobs there for the volume. And when I do try and tune the tuner, we can make it around to about 60. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to do that. Sorry, 80. I know you're not supposed to do that. I couldn't help it. Oh, it is 60 because we're going the wrong way. Huh, look at that. You learn something new every day. It won't track across the full dial range. So, again, this is stuff from watching Carlson and some others that I've kind of picked up. But I've never done it, and that's why I'm so excited. I got my first radio restoration. I know, right? Isn't that crazy? All this stuff that I've been building, these capacitor testers, and then I finally get to use it on something I want to use it on, instead of something dumped in my lap and they said, here, figure this out. No, I want to figure this out. So I'm really excited. I'm fired up about it. But I have no idea where to start. Now, I got a couple of things coming. First of all, these things kind of always happen in threes for me, you know? I was playing around on eBay looking for oscilloscopes because that's what I do. Another thing that's coming is a CNC router. Now, the CNC router is going to go in this shop, and I'll show you where. You ready? This is fun. Right there, underneath that pile of garbage. This is a typical shop near where I live, typical garage. You cannot fit a car in one, so you just kind of use it for whatever. So, this is a big pile of wood. I've got some storage over there. Last year, you could not walk through this garage. The door that's over there in the corner did not open or close. This is one of those things where I didn't own this house. I still don't own this house. I live here with my better half. My former stand-in wasn't all that handy. So a lot of this stuff got just kind of clustered around. So I've been spending the last year or two, actually almost 2 years, kind of fixing things up, cleaning things up one thing at a time. And the garage was like the last thing. Well, guess what? We're getting there. I had this all emptied out, but I had to move some other stuff out of another room and out of an attic and out of some other. It's a big long story. The whole thing is I got this big pile of cluster all right here, and it's going. So a little bit longer, and from that door frame edge to just about where that ladder is, that's about 8 feet, and another foot or so further, this whole area is going to be where the CNC router is going to go. And I got a whole other project for that thing. And we're not going to announce that until I'm actually doing it, because it's one of those things where I don't want to eat crow later. So I'm not even going to tempt you with it, but it's going to be really cool. And it's nowhere on topic of this channel except for nerdery. I digress. The point is, this is going to be essentially my first radio restoration. I fixed some radios before, but come on. It's a curtain burner. I mean, they're practically classics, right? Transformerless. I don't expect it to be the most awesome radio in the world, but the challenge of being able to take that thing out of the cabinet and flip that chassis over and see what kind of grief's going on underneath there, I can't wait. So, the things that happen in 3, I was looking for an oscilloscope. Actually, I was looking for an FFT. Not an FFT, you know what I mean. Some of you guys do. Ladies also. You need to be able to see the math associated FFT, fast Fourier transfer, Fourier transfer. You need to be able to see that when you're getting up in the audio ranges, the radio frequency ranges, IF frequencies, and you need to have that sweep. Well, you don't need to, but it makes it easier. You can do a better job. So I don't have all the equipment that I need yet. So I can't, as much as I want to just tear this thing apart, I want to take my time with it a little bit. So this is kind of a wet your whistle. And in the meantime, tell me what it is. If you guys have any information on this thing, I would love you to share that down in the comments section. Because, again, very rare. I did see some threads where some guys thought it wasn't a real thing. That it was just based on some tube inaccuracies. And I'll try and get that. We'll do another video when I break it down, and I'll probably break it down and say, okay, here's this thing, because I can't wait until it's all done and just do one video. Besides, Who would watch that, you know? I'll do it, you know, when I get the chassis out. We'll probably do an inspection just to fly over and look at it, and you know, all the tubes are in there. I know that. I know the slugs are in there. Basically, everything that's supposed to be in that cabinet is there. The guy that sold it says he plugged it in and it worked. And I said, I'm not plugging this thing in. And I could put it in on the dim bulbs, but I want to go over it first. I want to check to make sure there's no you know, capacitors that I know are issues before I even start, you know, paper and oil kind of thing. I want to make sure that those are all dealt with before we actually try and put power to this thing. I'm hoping I'm doing it the right way. So, but if you do have some information or you think you know what it is, please put it down in the comments and I'll start tracking it down. In the meantime, there's some other stuff that's coming. I think it's going to be pretty cool, but I'm trying to get this shop geared up for this. I wanted to do this with my new audio setup. The problem is I'm still missing a boom arm. I got a really nice condenser mic. I got a pretty nice mixer system that automatically sends it to USB so that we don't have to do this camera stuff, or I can do a little bit standing, you know, sitting behind a microphone where the audio is a little bit better. I spent some time in the lab trying to shift some things around, moving some noisy components to try and make things quieter. So I really want to get into that part of doing the videos, and I do have a lot of things that I'd like to cover, including, you know, we do a lot of stuff with my job where you know, I come across things like power supplies that are bad, that are hitting a dumpster. Well, guess what, you know, and you know, a lot of the other guys that are in the industry that go into, you know, places like kitchens and stuff like that, and they'll just come up out of the blue and say, hey, do you want this relay? You know, this, I just took this relay out. It's pretty cool looking, and I know you're a nerd. Well, duh, yeah, give me that thing. And then also with the jukebox stuff, some interesting things have come out of that. So anyway, my battery is choking, and I'm doing this all in one shoot. So please comment about this. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you would do. And last but not least, just, you know, everybody be nice to each other, and let's get pumped up for 2021, because the last year sucked. And so far I haven't seen a meteor, although yeah, the weather hasn't been great, and that sucks pretty bad too. Now, see, that's me being negative again. Be nice, do the thing, and don't mimic the monkey. For Christ's sake, you'll get hurt later.
Okay, so just one more little thing here. This is kind of it's a little bit of a test for me. Playing around with some of the audio stuff. My boom arm hasn't showed up yet, neither is the pop filter, so I've just been kind of playing around with the software to see if I can make everything work. And also, I wanted to show this is the cabinet that is much like the one that is in my garage right now. Now, notice the color is, well, not in all that greatest shape, but this grain looks almost identical. Now, clearly, and I didn't point it out in the video, there's like these things all look the same. And this is actually in pretty good shape. And if you look at the rest of the cabinet, not so much. So I don't know, is that like a common thing where they're just like, yeah, we're just going to resurface this, or did this just hold up better? You know, I don't know. I have a lot of questions, more questions than answers. And you can see over here, you know, this is also looks like the same cabinet. I mean, I'm sure the ashtray is the same. This looks a little askew, but that's probably the coin mech. Same here. We have the same kind of deal going on. This one's obviously much cleaner, has some kind of a thing going on, but, and notice, I mean, this isn't the same radio, but it's the same type of cabinet. And then over here we have what appears to be the same radio, same cabinet. So there's a lot of stuff to kind of look into and play around with, and I don't know, all kinds of new things for the near future. So, okay, we'll do another audio test when the boom arm comes in. Hopefully we can get it even tuned in better than what it is right now. Certainly no golden tones that you would hear on a nice warm vacuum tube microphone, but you know, you do what you can with what you got. So until next time, as I said before, don't mimic the monkey, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.